May 2nd, I had a flight, Delta Airlines. What happened is my slumlords, he believes everything in the building is his, including his tenants' lives. He doesn't have a life, so he hijacks ours. Now he's hijacked all my personal possessions, belongings. He has my keys, my wallet, I have a lot of really great stuff. They think anything that's in their buildings, they have the right to. It's basically white slavery. I don't know what else to call it. And white slavery with mental illness on top. I can show you. Okay, I have lost. If we can get my California driver's license back, I was pretty fat and sassy. Now it's holding my britches up. It's quite an issue.
So the police tried to get you to a shelter?
The officer, the sergeant, actually he drove me there and dropped me off out front.
And what shelter did they take you to?
Well, it was the only shelter, and thank God there was one. Or really, it would have been at the park, not even, because they kick you out. I would have just, I guess, had to try and find some business that was open late at night and just walk back and forth in front of that so I wasn't a vagrant.
As a pastor, I work in case management and in an administrative capacity. I'm also the acting chair for an organization called Metro St. Louis Coalition for the Homeless. None of the local municipalities, of which there are hundreds in the region, the majority of these have not seen the need to set up either emergency shelter or homeless services. NLEC opened its doors at this location, 1411 Locust, in 1976. At that time, we could have never foreseen being the last walk-in shelter for the region because there were other places available. Salvation Army was one of the largest providers of shelter for single men in St. Louis. They had a program that was known as Harbor Light for about 100 years. Salvation Army in recent years, just in the last 5 years, has changed its funding proposal to where it has chosen to move into housing. They are still providing emergency shelter for women and children. They can go to 3010 Washington and get a low-income apartment. So what we have actually is both a crisis in meeting the immediate need of men and women who are homeless, and yet at the same time, we don't know what the future holds. There's been a changing of the guard, we've had a change of human service director, we've had a change of program director for homeless services. Actually, we've had 2 changes in the last year. We changed from Antoinette Triplett to Justin Jackson, and then from Justin Jackson to Irene Eggleston. What we don't like to think about are the fact that many of those who end up homeless have lived in poverty for a long time prior to becoming homeless. You know, the old style of having kind of a walk-up room that you can rent, that's gone. You know, Mark Twain was the last one, and then Mark Twain changed. So Mark Twain is really screening who it even takes in at this point. Just a block from us, the YMCA apartments above that used to be one of the larger providers of housing. That's gone, and it's sitting vacant. The Jefferson Hotel, which is just on Tucker and Locust, that's been sitting vacant for nearly 10 years now. And so fundamental to a good society is having adequate housing that all people can access. We can't take that for granted. And so I applaud all those who are working toward affordable housing, including the Salvation Army. But before you can get into affordable housing, you've got to have a place where people can land, if only temporarily. I think that what we've got to look at is there has to be the political will in each community to actually want to have a shelter there. It's going to take a real change of heart in the region, and I just want to say thanks for listening.